Welcome to my video. Today I'm going to be replacing the flex on this angle grinder. It's a job I've been putting off for some time. I've persisted using it because there's always been another job I wanted to do with it. But I think the day has came. Recently I was doing a job with it and it failed. You can see we've got wires exposed there. It's quite dangerous to use in its current state. So the first step is getting into the thing. There's a screw here, I'm going to liberate that and see what happens. I doubt we'll get away with just that one screw. And then with an angle grinder you always have a few more screws here. Should be 4 screws holding everything in place. I will remove these and see how we get on. Bit fiddlier this one. Longer too. Could make a note of that. I always put a bit of cardboard down if I'm not in the workbench. Remove the body. You can see the compensator is nicely polished. That's actually a good sign. There's just very light scratches in it, so I'm quite happy with that. What this does is it uses the brushes to put power on a pair of coils. Bearing, tiny bit of play in that, running a bit dry. See what we can do with that, if anything. It is a sealed bearing, so I'm not sure if I can remove it. I might try and press a bit of grease in that, just to alleviate that dryness. That cover will go on the bearing. We've got the brushes. It's going to be tricky this. In here there is a field coil. I think we're going to have to remove that. I know this angle grinder works, so I'm not really going to town on the diagnosis, because it works when it wants to, so it's a reasonable suspicion that it is the cord, the mains power cord. I'll liberate a couple of screws from there, they're quite long. Probably going to have to deconstruct all of it just to replace the power cord. It's looking very much like that is the case. So this should hopefully remove the field coil, which you should be able to see being liberated from the body. It's quite fixed. It's very fixed. As it transpired, there's absolutely no reason to remove this, but it's given me the opportunity to have a look at it and lubricate the dry bearing, so that's not too good. The body on this particular grinder comes apart like so. And then we can start to have a look at what we need to do to replace the power cable. Just remove this. There's obviously a switch there. Should be up that. No. You can't. Oh yeah, do you hear it click? That's how it works. It's mechanically attached to this arm. And we've got 2 carbon brushes here. These should be, let's see the brushes there. These should be nice and springy. Sometimes they get clogged up with carbon dust, so be wary of that. If you've got equipment what ain't working right, that's a very easy fix. Just get a screwdriver, blow on it, manipulate it, whatever it takes, just free off these brushes. I'm not going to clean this armature because it looks fairly clean as it is. There's just a bit of dust. That in the trade is known as a patina, and it ensures that it turns with a minimal amount of wear to the armature. Sorry, commutator. So we'll remove these 2 screws to get to the cable. This is the cable strain, so if you're swinging this round like a lunatic, it's designed to support the weight of the product, generally speaking. So we've got the blue being the neutral. It's a bit irritating this. I'd love to be able to just move it out of the way, but I think I'm going to have to work around it. We've got the neutral on the left. We'll remove that. And the live on the right. So then we should be able to liberate the old cable. When replacing cables, it's very important to pick a cable. This is a used cable I've got here. You really need the same thickness of wire, otherwise the power requirement of the device will cause it to overheat and you won't get a satisfactory repair. It's essential you use one of the same thickness. You need your cables of the same thickness or you'll be in trouble. You can go a bit thicker, that's fine. You can overspec things, but definitely not thinner. So my replacement cable's about the same length. I'll just cut the ends off with these snips. I'll strip the wire. It's getting the pressure right with the snips. You can buy wire stripping tools, but I can normally just gauge it not to damage the copper wire. Twist the ends. Ready to be screwed in. So if I'm remembering correctly, neutral on the left, careful not to crimp down on the insulation. You need the copper conductor. And live on the right. If I do get them the wrong way around, hopefully I won't, it shouldn't really matter anyway because it's alternating current, so it's switching polarity 50 cycles a second in the UK. It's not the end of the world, it's just more so it looks correct. I'll feed them round where they were fed round before, so we've got to consider getting the case back on. And then push in there and refit the cable strain. give it a good push, get the cable up as tight as possible before crimping down on it. So we're finishing up on here. One thing to remember is not to forget to put this bit on the cable. That's one thing I have done, but due to the miracle of video, it's not caused me too many problems. I'll put this back in, but I'm going to get a bit of grease on this. Seems to be a bit of playing the gearing. I'm just going to try and get a bit of grease and force that in this bearing as best I can. So I've got a small quantity of grease and I'm just going to keep pushing it, just with a view to try and getting some in this bearing. And if it works when we spin it, it should make a better noise than it did. It seems to have nearly disappeared, so it must have gone somewhere. Yeah, it's not as free to spin, but it's now better lubricated than it was. So I'm quite pleased with that. Just get every little bit in. All I'm doing is just pushing it in with my finger in the hope that it'll go past that seal and get where it needs to be to ease things up. So I'll put this back on, this cover. I'm not sure which brand angle grinder this is, but it's served me well for quite a while. Put the screws back in. Quite awkward, some of these. That's all four in. Just give them a good tighten down. Don't want anything working loose while in operation. And now, final. Just one more job to do with this after I've got it all back together, besides the testing. So it's quite a bit of dust comes out of these things, but it has seen a bit of work, this. It's not had the easiest of lives. It's quite fiddly, that. It's like a twisting, pushing motion required all at once. Well, when I find the screw for it, I'll put that back in. One thing I was going to do This is the plug on the new flex. What I want to do is ensure that if there's a fuse in it, and if it matches, it's got to be the correct rating. So we've got a 13 amp fuse in that. After a bit of a struggle, we've got it back together. So let's just check the power rating of the fuse. $13 amp, great. Don't need to do anything apart from put the plugs together. So we now know the fuses are the same, so we'll give it a test. We've got the angle grinder plugged in, this is the test. Excellent, I'll put that back with the other tools. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe for more.